Have you ever wondered what made the Dukes of Hazzard so unforgettable? The bright orange car, the crazy stunts, or maybe the endless denim? Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into 15 weird and wild facts you probably never knew about this legendary show. 15. The animated Dukes existed. Way back in 1983, before streaming services turned cartoons into grown-up guilty pleasures, the Dukes of Hazzard got its own Saturday morning animated spin-off. Bo and Luke were out because of some contract drama with John Schneider and Tom Wopat. So in stepped their cousins Coy and Vance Duke to save the day. These backup Dukes took the chaos global, racing cars across the world in epic adventures packed with sneaky sabotage, fierce rivals, and even a tag-along raccoon named Smokey, who was like the ultimate furry sidekick, sniffing out trouble everywhere they went. The whole thing came from the Hanna-Barbera folks, those animation wizards behind Scooby-Doo and the Smurfs. Expect big bouncy jumps where cars defied gravity, wild stunts that looked even crazier in cartoon form, and that unmistakable Dixie horn blaring from General Lee, no matter if they were in France or Japan. It ran for just 2 seasons and 20 episodes, but it brought Hazzard County vibes to kids munching cereal on lazy weekends. Without Bo and Luke's live-action charm, it felt a tad off, like eating grits without the butter, but it still captured that freewheeling spirit. Fans loved the races, the gadgets, and Smokey's antics, proving the Dukes could hop mediums without missing a beat. 14. The General Lee's doors were mostly for show. Ever notice how Bo and Luke never used the car doors? That wasn't just laziness. Most of the time, the doors of the General Lee were welded shut. The car was built like a stock car, and welded doors made sense for safety during stunts. Ever catch how Bo and Luke Duke hopped in and out of that iconic orange Charger like it was no big deal? They skipped the doors every time, sliding through windows smoother than a moonshiner dodging the law. Turns out it wasn't just for cool points. Most General Lee cars had their doors welded shut solid. These beasts were rigged like real stock cars for those insane stunts. And sealing the doors kept drivers safe when things went airborne or flipped. Not every ride on set was locked up, though. Some stunt versions stayed open so crew could scramble in quick for resets between takes. But on screen, the Duke boys climbed in and out through the windows, and it became one of the show's signature quirks. Imagine cracking open a door mid-jump. It'd shatter the tough guy illusion faster than a bad jump ruins a ramp. There's even a rare blooper where a door gets slammed shut, but most fans never noticed. 13. The General Lee could steal the spotlight. Bo Duke with his jeans and grin, Luke with that quiet intensity, Daisy rocking those shorts, they were great. But let's be real, the General Lee often stole the whole show. At the peak of Duke's fever in the early 80s, that Dodge Charger snagged more than half of the 60,000 fan letters pouring into Warner Brothers each month. Kids scribbled questions about its roaring engine, what made it jump so high. Adults dreamed of owning replicas to tear up back roads. Some letters were straight-up love notes to the car, gushing over epic barn jumps or creek launches that left jaws on the floor. The studio played it smart, turning the General into a merchandising monster. Toy versions flew off shelves, lunchboxes shaped like it packed kids' lunches. Even t-shirts and posters made it a kid's room staple. That orange blur with the rebel flag wasn't just transportation. It was a bona fide celebrity with fans lining up for autographs, well, paw prints from models anyway. It outshone the humans because it embodied the freedom, the rebellion, the sheer fun of Hazzard life. Today, car shows still honor it, with replicas revving crowds into cheers. 12. Uncle Jesse was secretly rolling in cash. Uncle Jesse Duke came off as your classic dirt farmer uncle, scratching out a living on the farm, brewing moonshine in the woods, always one Roscoe traffic stop from losing it all. Wise words, cornbread wisdom, and a glare that could stop Boss Hogg cold. But off-screen, actor Denver Pyle was swimming in riches you wouldn't believe. Before the 1973 oil crisis hit, he'd scooped up old, dried-up oil wells for pennies. When prices exploded, those dusty lots turned into gushers of green. Pyle raked in way more from oil than his long Hollywood career ever dreamed. Picture him on set, playing the poor uncle plowing fields while his bank account ballooned from smart bets. The show wrapped, but he kept wheeling and dealing, pouring millions into kids' charities without fanfare. He popped up on TV guest spots, keeping Jesse alive in fans' hearts, all while handling his quiet empire. Denver mixed folksy charm with sharp business smarts, a real-life twist on his character. 11. Boss Hogg was a genius in disguise. Sorrel Book, the man behind the three-piece white suit, wasn't just a cartoonish county commissioner. Valedictorian in high school, he hit Columbia University at 16, graduated by 19, then Yale for more brains. Korean war vet as a counterintelligence officer, speaking 6 languages like English was child's play, dabbling in others for fun. Yet to the world, he became Boss Hogg, waddling through Hazzard County in padding and a syrupy southern drawl, turning politics into comedy. Behind the scenes, he had an Emmy nomination, Broadway credits, and voice acting gigs. Next time you see him sneaking around in that white suit, remember, a Yale-educated multilingual war vet was behind those schemes, making corruption look hilarious. 10. The show never started in Hollywood. Filming kicked off in real Georgia towns in 1978, including Covington, Social Circle, and Loganville. The early episodes were grittier, more adult, and rougher around the edges. But once Warner Brothers saw the potential, production moved to California for convenience and space. Suddenly, Hazzard County was a patch of Burbank and the Golden Oak Ranch dressed up with hay bales. The tone softened, the humor brightened, and the chaos became cartoonish but safe. Some Georgia landmarks remain today, like the Boar's Nest, now a church, proof that a place that once hosted car chases and bar fights can find a completely different purpose. 9. John Schneider tricked his way into the show.
So here I am, this Westchester County guy, and here's this rural thing, and the word is...
John Schneider wasn't a Georgia boy. He was an 18-year-old from New York. To land the role of Bo Duke, he invented a backstory, borrowed a beat-up pickup, grew out a scruffy beard, and showed up in a hat and denim. He even claimed to be from Snailville, Georgia, which doesn't exist, and faked a southern accent thick enough to fool the producers. He had no idea how to drive the General Lee, but after being cast, he learned fast. Schneider pulled off one of the most iconic southern roles in TV history purely on confidence, charm, and improvisation. 8. The Dukes came from a little-known movie. Long before Bo and Luke were jumping ramps on Friday nights, they were Grady and Bobby Lee Hagg in a 1975 movie called Moonrunners. It had all the elements: moonshine, crooked sheriffs, car chases, and family drama. Uncle Jesse even dies in that version, and the cousins faced real consequences for their actions. When the show was adapted, it was toned down for TV. Less violence, more laughs, and characters never suffered lasting harm. Moonrunners laid the groundwork, giving the TV version a roadmap, but it replaced grit with freeze frames and slow-motion flying cars. 7. The show nearly lost its stars to a contract dispute. At the height of their fame, John Schneider and Tom Wopat walked off set. It wasn't ego, it was about merchandising money. Their faces appeared on lunchboxes, toys, and even waffle irons, but they weren't getting a fair cut. The network brought in Coy and Vance Duke as replacements. Fans hated it. Ratings plummeted, and the original cousins returned as soon as the dispute ended. Coy and Vance were erased like they never existed, a rare TV rewrite that still confuses fans to this day. 6. Stunts were terrifyingly real. The Dukes of Hazzard was basically one long stunt reel. The General Lee flew through barns, over bridges, and across creeks, often with stunt drivers risking serious injury. Roll cages failed, harnesses snapped, and accidents happened despite careful planning. Tragically, in 1980, a camera assistant lost his life when a vehicle lost control. The show cycled through stunt performers faster than it cycled chargers. Safety equipment wasn't what it is today. Every jump, flip, and crash was real, making the risk for those behind the wheel very tangible. 5. The iconic two-wheel stunt could only be done one way. The famous two-wheel driving stunts weren't just skill, they had limits. Buzz Bundy, the stunt driver, could only tilt the driver's side wheels off the ground. Attempts the other way failed, no matter how skilled he was. This quirk became a rule for all the show's stunts. Directors had to design sequences around his handedness, and every two-wheeled car scene was a testament to his precision, nerve, and Hollywood-level expertise. 4. Surviving General Lees are worth a fortune. Over 300 Dodge Chargers were used during filming. Today, only about 17 to 20 authentic screen-used General Lees exist, and they sell for astronomical sums. Some replicas owned by cast members have fetched over $200,000, and original cars from the pilot have sold for six figures. That orange blur that thrilled audiences on Friday nights is now priceless TV memorabilia, more valuable than many houses, college educations, and retirement funds combined. 3. The theme song topped the charts. The Dukes of Hazzard theme wasn't just catchy, it was a #1 hit. Written and performed by Waylon Jennings, it reached the top of the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and even crossed over into the Hot 100. The song became a cultural touchstone, instantly recognizable, and decades later it still gets people singing along. From live performances at Duke Fests to reimagined versions in movies and covers by various artists, it's the anthem that outlived the show itself. 2. The 2005 reboot was universally rejected by the original cast. When Hollywood attempted a reboot in 2005, John Schneider, Tom Wopat, and Catherine Bach all declined to participate. Ben Jones, known as Cooter, publicly criticized it. The script didn't capture the spirit of the original show, and the cast actively distanced themselves. Nostalgia couldn't save it. Fans were left with a version that didn't match the charm or chaos that made the original iconic, proving that some classics are untouchable. 1. The Dukes reunited years later in Smallville.
You just could not resist, could you?
In 2006, Bo and Luke Duke were reunited in a subtle Easter egg during an episode of Smallville. John Schneider and Tom Wopat played characters driving a Dodge Charger, a nod to the Dukes and to Waylon Jennings. It was a small moment, but for fans, it was magical, and a reminder that even decades later, the spirit of Hazzard County could still surprise and delight. There you have it. 15 weird, wonderful, and sometimes shocking facts about the Dukes of Hazzard. From stunt chaos to hidden wealth, fan obsession to behind-the-scenes genius, Hazzard County was wilder than we ever knew. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep the ride going.